So I bought a bunch of plants that I did not intend on buying until I was literally in the middle of buying them. I bet some of you can relate. But now I have all of these plants, and today I am going to be planting them outside, and I'm going to be trying to figure out where they're going to go. But first, I do want to show off what I got because I think it is really exciting. So here I actually have some citrus trees, and one of these is going to be my mom's, but 3 of them are going to be mine. And I got some cold hardy citrus that is theoretically going to survive the winter here with no protection and just no help at all. The guy that I got them from, his name is Stan, and he runs Mackenzie Farms in the Midlands of South Carolina. And if you are on my Patreon, you might have seen the little field trip vlog that I posted, where we went there kind of on a whim. I knew that I was going to get citrus from him eventually, but just that day we were like, well, we're not doing anything else. We might as well drive 3 hours into the middle of nowhere to get some citrus. And we took a tour of his farm, and it was really, really cool. And he just shows us tree after tree, and he's like, oh yeah, and this one I've never done anything to take care of, and this one I've never done anything to take care of, and they're just covered in flowers, getting ready to fruit for the season. Gosh, I can't talk today. Anyways, so I've got a citramon. I've got a what are you called? A US 942. That's the same as this one. One of these is for my mom. And then this one is a kumquat. And so most of them, everything except the kumquat, is not grafted, which means that it is it's on its original rootstock, whereas the kumquat, you can see right here, that's the graft right there. It is on a stronger rootstock. So I will have to be just a little bit more careful with this one as far as making sure that it doesn't grow back from the rootstock. But otherwise, it should be good. Compared to the citrus that I bought last year on a whim from Lowe's, I think these are going to do a lot better. I trust Mr. Stan, and I saw with my own eyes the trees that were doing super well with literally no help. So I'm very excited about these. I am going to cover them this first winter just because they're babies and they do need just a little bit of help when they're babies. Everybody needs help when they're a baby. But after that, they should be established enough to not need really any care at all. He said he doesn't even really fertilize them, so it sounds ideal to me. While I was there, I was also convinced by Danica to pick up this plant right here, which is a pineapple guava, which I had not heard of until we were literally there. And she said that she had done some research on it a couple years ago and thought very hard about getting it, but just hadn't because she had got so many other plants that year. But she told me that it was going to be a great variety for our area, and the fruits apparently taste like strawberry kiwi with a hint of pineapple. So I am sold. It was there. I was in the plant buying mood. And it's such a pretty plant. It looks so healthy. So now we have a pineapple guava that we got to figure out where that's going to go. These next 2 here I actually got at the Clemson Botanical Garden plant sale the other day. This one is called Self-Heal. It is a native wildflower around here that has a lot of medicinal purposes. And this one is, I don't know where the label is, but it is a Carolina allspice, and apparently you can use the bark like a cinnamon substitute. It is also a native plant. So I'm kind of excited about that, especially because I have a friend who has a cinnamon allergy, and it would be really cool if I could make her stuff that kind of tasted like cinnamon that she would not be allergic to. Also at the Botanical Garden, I got another fig. I know you guys have been seeing me panic about whether or not my figs are going to come back. One of them definitely is, and I'll show you that in a bit. But I got another one just in case, and also because the variety looked really cool. This is an LSU purple fig. It's supposed to have really high disease resistance, and I thought that sounded great. It's also a much bigger plant than what I have, and I feel like what I have right now is it's taking a while to get started, and I didn't have to buy a bigger plant, but I really wanted to. And so if all of those actually do end up growing up and producing, I will have 3 fig trees. Just, that's not that many fig trees, right? We'll see. I mean, you know, maybe in a couple of years you guys will hear me talking about how I'm so overwhelmed with figs, but that sounds like a good problem to have right now. Here I have 2 blueberries from Stark Bros. These are the 2 that I ordered like ages ago that are going to replace the 2 that are currently out there that died. Separate from the other 2 that I planted in the corner of the garden. These ones are going to go in the berry patch, and they are both the sunshine variety, which is the one that has been doing super well for me here, whereas the other ones are just kind of meh. They're like technically surviving, but they're not really doing anything. So I got 2 more of the ones that seem to really like it in my climate. And also from Stark Bros, I got a pomegranate. I would not have thought that pomegranate could grow in my area, but apparently it can. So I have this dwarf pomegranate tree. It's just starting to put on little leaves, and it is also going to get planted out today. Also from Stark Bros, I got some strawberry crowns. I have a sequoia strawberry and an Auxhart Beauty strawberry. I think these are 25 bare root plants each. And even though I do have strawberries out there that are coming back, I thought it would be nice to get maybe a couple more varieties, especially one that is ever bearing. Right now, most of what I have is June bearing, and I do have just like a couple more spots that I do really want to populate with strawberries sooner rather than later. So I am diversifying. Also, they were on sale. I mean, how could I turn that down? And I'm not even done yet. I have some American ground nuts that they're already sprouting in the package. I'm already late on getting these planted. I think I decided I'm gonna put these with the sunchokes, just because the ground nuts are vining and the sunchokes are like a sunflower relative, so they grow really tall really fast, and both of them I will be harvesting the roots of. So it sounds like it should be a good pairing. I've heard some people say yes, some people say no. I am going to find out for myself and report back. Okay, so first thing is I'm going to pop my pineapple guava out of its container and soak it in some water before we plant it. Mr. Stan said that that would help the root ball loosen up. Also, I did break one of its beautiful branches while I was moving it in my car, but you know, these things happen. Plants are resilient. Also, how am I going to get this out? Oh my goodness. There we go. Okay. Into the bucket of water you go. Oh, you're so dry you float. Oh goodness, okay. Okay, and while that's soaking, I'm going to go ahead and plant my ground nuts first. Mostly because they are easy to put in the ground and I'm already very late on them, and the rest of these, most of them, they can wait. Alright, so I have 2 packs of ground nuts. I have, 4 in one and 6 in the other. I think I'm gonna at least plant 1 whole pack in here, and as I'm going I might decide if I'm gonna plant both whole packs in. I'll probably plant both, just because I have a lot of stuff that needs to go in the ground, a lot of stuff that needs trellises, and the worst thing that can happen is I get a smaller than usual harvest, which is not that big of a deal. It's not like if I plant it here and things don't go well, it's gonna just die. It's just gonna be like not optimal. So you can see also in here my Jerusalem artichoke, my sunchoke, is already coming up. It pushes up through everything, like all this really deep wood mulch. It literally doesn't care at all. Okay, now which way is up? I think this way is up. We're gonna nestle you in there and just gently cover you with the wood mulch. I'm just kind of gonna try and space these out as best as possible, but obviously this is not very scientific. Let's see, let's put you here. So I was joking earlier, you know, I bought a lot of plants that I didn't intend on buying, and you know, I feel like I hear that from a lot of people. And on the one hand, Yeah, it's kind of funny. Everybody has these like impulses to buy stuff like that. On the other hand, like if you don't have a good way to take care of those plants, it could end up being really sad because, you know, then you have these plants, you don't have anywhere good to put them, and then they die, and that can be really discouraging. Or if you're not prepared to take care of a plant that might actually need a fair bit of care, that can also be kind of a negative thing. But in general, I think it's pretty positive. I think it's pretty fun to go ahead and let yourself do what you want to do with your garden, because it's your garden and you make the rules, and you're the one who's going to have to be happy and excited enough to take care of it throughout the year. I really cannot tell which way is up on this one. It probably doesn't matter that much. We're just going to put you in that way. Okay. 4 more. I think the only thing, like the only big negative for me as far as planting even more stuff, is just going to be keeping track of actually harvesting and using it. I think the saddest thing for me is when I try to grow a lot of stuff and there's a big harvest and then I don't end up properly using it and some of the produce actually goes to waste. I think that is the worst. And so even though it's really fun, I've got all these new plants, I am going to actually go put in the work later and figure out what I'm actually doing with the harvest ahead of time. I'm going to use my handy dandy garden planner. Sorry, there was some wind. I wasn't sure if you'd be able to hear me. But I'm going to be using my handy dandy garden planner to actually go over what am I going to do with this. Like when it comes in on that day when I harvest it, I want to already have a plan in place so that I'm not overwhelmed with also making that decision at the same time that I'm overwhelmed with actually having the harvest in my hands. Because that has also happened to me too. I bring in a bunch of stuff and I don't know what to do with it, and it sits there while I'm like trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it for the next couple of days, and then by then it feels like it gets to be too late. That's one of the things I think most people don't consider when they're planning their gardens, among other things. And if you're interested in this garden planner of mine, I did design it to be a downloadable PDF. So the link in my description, you should be able to find it on my website if you also want to go ahead and download a copy of that for yourself. It is absolutely not too late in the season to be starting garden planning and making sure that you have everything covered. Oh gosh, I can't remember where I planted them already. Like there's okay, I think I haven't put one all the way over here yet. We'll go over here. That is the final one. Alright, so I just spent like the last hour trying to figure out where these plants were gonna go, and I'm gonna explain to you kind of my thought process and how I decided on their locations, and especially how I balanced all of their locations in relative to each other. Okay, so what we've got here is, this is where I had originally planted my citrus last year. I had citrus, fig, and 3 out of 4 of those plants died. The fig cutting died, and then my 2 citruses died. And like I said before, it's probably because they were not quite the right varieties for this area, especially because I was wanting stuff that I really don't have to take care of very much. So what we're putting here instead, so the one plant that is still alive, first of all, this fig, it is actually coming back. You can see right there, those are little buds coming up. Definitely the tips seem to have died back like I had suspected. But down here, definitely got a little bit of live growth. So we're gonna leave that one. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to, this is 1 row here, and I'm gonna expand it into 2 rows, and I'm going to offset the plants. So it's gonna be like zigzagging up the row. That way they can be just a little closer together while still having enough room. And like almost all of these plants should get pretty big. Anywhere, excuse my voice, anywhere between like 6 and 12 feet tall and wide. And I definitely am expecting them to kind of grow into more of a solid, almost like a privacy hedge here between me and this other house. And so we've started with the pineapple guava here. This is going to be like a bush. So just imagine it, whoop, like that. And then this is my pomegranate, which is going to be pushed out here. And the pomegranate is the one that's going to be the biggest out of all of them. And so this one is pushed this way because the sun comes from behind me. So I want it to get quite a bit of sun. But also the way the sun comes, it'll kind of go this way around it. And mostly it's not going to shade too much. It's going to shade this a little bit. And it's going to shade this fig a little bit. But hopefully not too much. Okay, sorry, a plane had to pass over. That was kind of loud. But from the pomegranate, we've got, of course, the fig. This is the Carolina allspice. This is also going to be more of a bush than a tree. And then we've got our fig here. So we have the two figs kind of nearby to each other. And then these last three, boop, 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 those are my citrus. And I have my two ungrafted first, and then my grafted one out there. Because if the grafted one dies, I don't want there to be a hole in the line. So grafted one gets to be at the end just because it's the most likely to die, in my opinion, out of these other two. These other two are so hardy. And part of why I've decided to put them all here together is because they all have a very similar soil requirement. One of the very first things that I started Googling when I was thinking, okay, where am I going to put these, is what kind of soil do they need? What is the pH of the soil that they need? And I was going to try and group them all together by that. And it seems like every single one of these will do well in very slightly acidic soil. And, you know, anywhere from like 5.5 to maybe 7-ish. And some of them can even go a little bit alkaline. Especially the pineapple guava seems to be very tolerant of pretty much anything you could throw at it. And so I was like, okay, well, they all need about the same soil requirements, so I can put them in about the same area, and that means any sort of like pH treatment that I do is going to be fine. And I also thought about the fact that they are uphill from the berry patch, which the berry patch is downhill for a reason. The berry patch is at the bottom because that needs to be the most acidic, and I wouldn't want to have it uphill and be acidifying that soil and then have some of that acidification kind of run down to the plants that are more downhill. So blueberries at the bottom, they can handle more of the acidification. If I do have to acidify any of the soil up here, then the blueberries can take the extra. They're not really going to mind any of that. That's also part of why I have my St. John's wort down here, right? Like that actually really likes the same acidic soil that the blueberries do. So it does really well next to the blueberries in the blueberry type of soil. All right, and so in addition to all of that, I have kind of tried to space out the trees versus the bushes. Like the pomegranate tree, even though it's a dwarf, it will still get to be like 10 feet tall at least. And so this, I'm probably going to prune the lower branches off and have it be kind of more of a tree shape. And then this is going to be more of a bush, and that is going to be more of a bush. And so what I really want is to be able to have these fill out kind of the lower sections, and then the tree fill out the higher sections, the elevation here. So I'm thinking in levels. And I also need to address my little self-heal plant here. This is going to stay small. It's not going to get very tall, but it is going to spread. And so that is my like lowest level around here. It's going to be the self-heal, and then the bushes, and then the tree, right? So I'm trying to utilize my space not just in this direction, but also vertically. I'm also going to plant some of the strawberries in this area kind of as another understory plant, another ground cover thing that can tolerate some of that shade, and will also spread out and help keep the grass from really growing all around there. That is hard work. Not even just the digging, but the fact that the soil here is so rocky. I had to dig one of these holes at least 3 times bigger than it needed to be because there was a big rock in the way. And, you know, even if I can just like plant next to it instead of on top of it where I wanted to, I don't want that big rock to be in the way of the roots that I'm putting in there. I don't want them to have that barrier. So I went ahead and dug out this massive rock. And so I'm kind of exhausted. I'm taking a quick break. And in the meantime, I wanted to remind you guys that I am doing this really fun thing for April, for the month of April only, and maybe never again. If you join my Patreon for $5, I am giving away one-on-one sessions with me. So that's 30 minutes where you can chat with me over Google Meet, I think I have it set up for. And we can just go over everything that's going on in your garden. You can ask me questions. I can give you my advice. I will do my very best. I do not know everything, but we can have a chat about it, and I can try and help you out the best I can. I'm also giving away these really cute holographic stickers. They are designed specifically for this promotion, and they will not ever be available outside of this promotion. And one more thing, just to make it fully irresistible for you guys, I am offering access to my private Discord group. This is where you can come and chat with me even on a daily basis. Let me know what's going on in your garden. Let me know any questions that you might have. It's show off your garden. I love seeing what you guys get up to, and I learn a lot from you guys too. I absolutely, like I said, I don't know everything, and people from different places have a lot of experience and advice to share. And especially if you're somebody who's watching me and I'm not exactly in the type of climate that you're in, but you still like getting that gardening advice, you might find somebody in the Discord group that does live in a climate that's a little bit more similar to you. So you might be able to get a lot of good advice and camaraderie that way. So again, all the way through the month of April, all the way until, April 30th? Yeah, I don't think there's a 31st of April. All the way through April 30th, you'll be able to join my Patreon at the $5 tier and get access to all of this really cool stuff, especially the one-on-one. That's not something that I'm sure that I'll ever be able to offer again, just because it is such a huge time investment for me. If all of that is something that sounds interesting to you, the link to check that out is in the description below. And if you are hearing me talk about Patreon and you're not even quite sure what that is, what Patreon is, it is a platform that helps you support creators directly as opposed to kind of roundabout through YouTube. So YouTube pays me through the ads that you watch at the beginning or even in the middle of this video. And that is great, but that is not really a lot of money. It's not nearly as much as you might think that it is. And YouTube also itself, it is a platform that I can't control. You know, if YouTube was to decide tomorrow that they weren't going to do their YouTube thing anymore, they were just gonna like sell or quit the company or just like stop investing money in it, whatever it is, I wouldn't have control of that. And this, this whole job that I've been trying to build where I teach all you guys and I spend my time investing in your education, that would all be gone like that. And so if you join me on Patreon, even if you're joining for free, then that helps me keep track of you. It helps you keep track of me if something were to happen to YouTube. And it also helps me feel more stable as a creator as far as like my income and thinking about transitioning from having a normal job to doing this full time. And of course, that would mean increasing the amount and the quality of the content that you actually get, because believe it or not, I do all of this in between having a normal job that pays the bills and all of that. And so the more that I can get support through a platform like Patreon, where I can trust that it's not just going to randomly go away or demonetize me or any of those things, it gives me the stability to really commit to you guys and educating you and making you guys all of this really cool content. If that is something that you can do, I would really, really appreciate it. I understand that not everybody can, even if you really, really do want to support me. And so the best thing you can do if you don't have any money to support me is join my Patreon on the free section anyway. And again, that'll help us kind of keep track of each other if something were to happen. obviously, you know, subscribe, like this video, like any of the videos that you see. That does help me, at least on YouTube as a platform. And assuming that they're not gonna go rogue and absolutely delete it tomorrow, then that is going to help me in the long term. So that sort of stuff I also do very much appreciate. Even though this pergola doesn't actually have anything growing on it yet, it is offering me a fair bit of shade. It is still a really nice place to cool off. And I think it's about time for me to get back to work. So if you do want to check out the April special, description below, and let's get back into it. Let's mulch that area. Well, unfortunately, it looks like my phone died about halfway through recording that, but here is the finished area. I was running out of mulch, so I kind of just did a thin layer, and, you know, I spread it out. I did not do like a nice, like you can see this corner here is a little weird. I didn't worry about some of the weeds that were coming up in the area that's already mulched. I was trying to get at least a layer of mulch on the area, and hopefully I can come through with more at a later date. Not today though, because I am exhausted. I actually am not gonna finish all of this. I probably am still gonna try and get the strawberries in either later this evening or tomorrow, but this really took it out of me, guys. There's a lot here though, and I'm really excited to see how this area kind of shapes up over the next year or two. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, happy gardening.